lights all dim, hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel, one more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now, turn it up loud. Every hit, every slam, yeah, we're here for the crowd. From the first whistle blast to the last hometown shout. Game time starts now. Game time starts now.
Afternoon and welcome. I'm Matt Popchock coming to you once again from 31 Sports Bar and Grill here in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, the site of our 2026 PIHL Championship Preview Show, joined by Kevin Zielmanski, and hopefully all the Zielmanskis are safe and sound after the dangerous wins over the weekend, ready to talk some championship hockey this week.
We had a period without power, but we're back.
We are powered up for
Yes.
Championship Monday and Championship Tuesday, so let's get to it. The first game of the four being played at the UPMC Libby Sports Complex in Cranberry this week will be the Class 2A Penguins Cup final between the regular season champions, the Hempfield Spartans, and the third-seeded Penn Trafford Warriors. Puck drop Monday, 6:15 p.m. on 10-band TV. We know that we're going to have a Westmoreland County champion, and we know, Kevin, that both teams are coming off identical 6-2 wins in the semifinal round on the island.
Yeah, the Double A's Westmoreland County Championship this year. Both teams 6-2 victories in the semifinals. Hempfield defeated Bethel Park, and Greater Latrobe lost to Penn Trafford 6-2. Matt, what I noticed about both those teams when I was watching it, that when they would go particularly to the power play, some of their top line guys, they could have been front lines on the basketball team. A lot of size on both of these teams. I think pretty evenly matched coming into this one. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night. Hempfield obviously had a terrific season, finished first in 2A, but Penn Trafford was a 3 seed. Only had to beat Latrobe as a 7 seed because they upset Armstrong, which was probably our biggest upset so far in the Penguin Cup playoffs. So Latrobe, with their history in the Penguin Cup, just was able to pull that one off. But it was just neither was a match. Bethel Park or Latrobe was really a match for either of those two winners in 2A. So hopefully we're going to have a good one tomorrow.
It was really hard for me to get a feel for this game, like which way it's going to shake out one way or the other, because just because they won so convincingly in the semifinal round. For Hempfield, you had Nick Krupe and Nino DiPietro, a recent player of the month, both having big games for Hempfield. J.J. Williams, a very talented defenseman, had 3 assists. And Penn Trafford, which was the Cinderella a couple of years ago, really put Latrobe, which was trying to be the Cinderella this year, kind of put them in their place, especially in the second period. Jordan Tusek had the hat trick. Zach Gerkman had a couple of power play goals. And by the time both these games got to the third period, it's, seemingly it was just a formality at that point. Both teams with really strong second periods. And the last Westmoreland County champion, by the way, in 2A was Latrobe, 2013. There have been recent Westmoreland champions, Norwin and Kiski in 1A, but this will be the first one in 2A in a while. And it's an interesting matchup because Hempfield for so many years was one of the also-rans in the playoffs. They're not clearly anymore. They're the favorite, at least on paper, in this game. And revisionist history says that the Cinderella run that Penn Trafford went on in 2024, where they went to the final but came up short, things are different for them now. Now people expect Penn Trafford to thrive and to succeed in the playoffs. So again, it's a very even matchup between these two.
Well, two very large schools
that
took some time to kind of get their footing with their hockey program. Hempfield spent a lot of time in what we call the co-op, now D2, was the open, kind of getting their footing and getting, I guess, the right people in charge in terms of from the presidents, the boards, the coaches to get on the same page. But looking at the rosters when we were watching the game to get ready for this, I mean, you could just see it right here, the number of players versus what Bethel has. It's just their program has hit its stride in 2A, and like you said, it was a dominant victory, 6-2. And on the playoff run here so far, you mentioned a couple guys. It's DiPietro with 2 goals. He has 4 points in the playoffs. Krupe has 2 goals, assists in the playoffs. J.J. Williams, he's added 4 assists in the playoffs. And Evan Saltzgiver has a 2.00 goals against average and a 92 save percentage. So those guys have been leading the way statistically for the Spartans in the first 2 games in this Penguin Cup playoff run.
And I'm glad you mentioned Saltzgiver, because to me this is almost a question of which of these teams can best avoid getting goalied, if you will. Saltzgiver is an all-star for Hempfield, .909 save percentage during the regular season, .920 save percentage in the playoffs. Tyler Funk, who was the freshman hero a couple years ago for Penn Trafford, he's a junior now. He's also an all-star this year. He, too, had a .909 save percentage during the regular season, .933 in the playoffs. So as good as both goalies have been, they found a whole other level to get their teams to where they are right now.
Yeah, the Warriors have tallied a little more offensively, totaling 32 points, 12 goals, 12 assists on the team, compared to Hempfield's 10 and 9. But still, it's really hard to kind of slice and dice this one to where you would find an advantage either way. For the Warriors, as you mentioned, Tusik had the hat trick, scoring 3 consecutive goals in the semis. He had the 3rd, 4th, and 5th goal for the Warriors. Brock Bieneman leads for the Warriors in the playoff points. He has 2 goals and 6 assists. Ben Zersky has 1 goal with 6 assists, 7 points. He's really a key for them coming from the blue line. He's very mobile and big with the puck, able to activate, get up into the play, and I think that's something that really helps their attack. Sean Goodman has 3 goals and 2 assists, and Tyler Funk, 2.5 goals per game, 93.3 save percentage. So very evenly matched in goal also. So, I mean, you and I called a game last year that went into multiple overtimes. I mean, we're not looking to throw this one off schedule, but, I mean, if this one ends in overtime, I don't think anyone would be surprised.
No, I certainly wouldn't. And again, you'd like to think that Penn Trafford is in a position to maybe finish what they started by making it to the championship game in 2A a couple of years ago. But Hempfield has all that scoring depth you mentioned. So it's really a matter of, can the Spartans continue to play with the maturity they've shown, being in a team that hasn't been in this position very often. They're the #1 seed, and they've handled that #1 seed with tremendous poise. Penn Trafford has Zielmanski and Bieneman and Funk, all these guys who were there as key players in the surprising 2024 run. I think whatever happens, we're looking at a very tight game. And again, one in which both goaltenders are going to have to continue to shine as they have been in order to get the win for their respective clubs.
Well, I think you hit on an important point there, the experience factor. Hempfield not being in this position. You get to Lemieux Center, it's different, right? There's one of the biggest crowds they're going to see. The atmosphere in the building is always electric. The sound kind of bounces around. And you don't know how a team, even though they're the 1 seed, has not experienced that yet, handles it. Sometimes that means slow starts. The Warriors don't have everybody that was in the atmosphere in the past, but they're going to have a few experienced players, how they can relay the experience, how they can come out early and try to catch the Spartans while they're getting their bearings. I think that's always critical when you size up the 2 teams. The experience factor in the championship game and the championship game medal is a big part of this. And goalies that have big game experience and coaches that have big game experience. I mean, speaking from experience myself, you get on the bench in those games, you do have the nerves for a bit if you haven't been there. You're hopeful that you can just get into the flow of the game and you're watching what's happening and changing lines. But sometimes coaches can feel the pressure of the moment in terms of making a poor decision. And that's all part of managing this in the championship game.
Something's got to give. A team from Westmoreland County is going to win a Penguins Cup, inevitably, on Monday night. And a team from Class 2A is going to win a Penguins Cup in the PIHL era for the first time ever on Monday night, Will it be the Hempfield Spartans? Will it be the Penn Trafford Warriors? We shall see. Again, Monday, 6:15 on 10-Band TV. Top-seeded Hempfield, the regular season champ. Third-seeded Penn Trafford, the Warriors, trying to win it after making it there in 2024. When we return, we'll break down the Division II final between Ringgold and Burrell, and we'll be joined by some reps from the Ringgold Rams here on the PIHL Championship Preview Show on 10-Band TV from 31 Sports Bar and Grill in Bridgeville.
Bright lights, clock ticks, it's time. Hey, hey. Skates on the ice and the lights all dim. Hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more
turning, scoring! Marshall Hewitt has won the Penguins Cup championship for the Seneca Valley Raiders with 12:29 to play in triple overtime, and don't ever play Lady of Spain again.
Bright lights, clock ticks, it's time. Hey, hey. Skates on the ice and the lights all dim. Hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now. Turn it up loud. Every hit, every slam. Yeah, we're here for the crowd. From the first whistle blast to the last hometown shout. Game time starts now. Game time starts now.
And we are back here at 31 Sports Grill in Bridgeville for the continuation of our 2026 PIHL Championship Preview Show with Kevin Zielmanski. I'm Matt Popchock, and in recent years in the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Hockey League, it's become more and more in vogue for former players to come back to the league, to the coaching ranks. Some have been lucky enough to coach at their alma mater. Some have coached other programs in the area where they grew up. We're joined by one of those folks, Brady Parkinson. He, a Thomas Jefferson alumnus, now head coach of your Division II finalist, Ringgold Rams. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
And you have the chance now to become one of the youngest championship-winning coaches in league history. If the Rams are good enough to prevail over the Burrell Buccaneers, it'll be Ringgold, the 3 seed, against Burrell, the 5 seed, Monday night at 8:45 for the Division II championship at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry. Both those teams coming off dramatic semifinal victories. What impressed you the most about your team, the way they played in that round?
I mean, honestly, it's been the same for the first 2 games. We went down 1 goal each game, and it's just been the attitude and battle, the wherewithal to just not give up, not go into the night really. Basically, every time they were knocked down, they got right back up. So that's the motto of this team. They've been knocked down this year, and they've gotten right back up. So that's the same motto moving into this championship game that we're going to try to follow there.
You've seen Burrow, I believe, at least once during the regular season. Twice, that's correct. What makes them a tough finalist? What do you take away from watching them play a couple of times this season?
Yeah, I mean, they are systematically as good of a hockey team as you're going to face. They don't break down a lot in their D zone. Their neutral zone is very well thought out. It's a program that's ran in a really good way systematically. And a testament to that for both programs is through 2 games and 102 minutes of hockey. I think we're at 6-6 and 5-on-5 hockey. So it should be as tight of a match as you can get in a final there.
Kevin?
So how much do you plan on preparing specifically for this opponent, and how much do you worry about overloading your players with too much?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm actually a teacher as well. So I teach high school students. So I know what they can kind of handle and can't handle. So it kind of gives me that little bit of an upper hand there. But, I mean, just with everything else, I mean, it's my job is to give them as much preparation as I can, do as much of a deep dive as I can, and relay what knowledge me and the coaching staff, think is pertinent to them, and without overloading them there, but at least giving them the facts of the matter and what they're going to go up against and what they can do to, obviously win a game, get a goal, stop a goal, things like that.
Yeah, I always found that such a fine line, right? I mean, you want to be prepared, but then you worry about, like, at the end of practice, you're trying to squeeze in this, and you're trying to squeeze in this, and then all of a sudden you're worried it's too much, and then maybe you build up the opponent, because you always hear coaches talk about, we want to play our game, and then it's like, how do you describe your game? So how do you describe the Rams when they're at their best? How do you think we're playing?
Well, again, I think it's systematically doing the right things in terms of what systems we got in place, running the right way, trusting your teammates. I mean, that was a big thing this year of trusting each other to your line mate, your D partner, your goalie. They're going to do their job. You don't have to do everybody's job. I think last year we got into a lot of predicaments where we were trying to do other people's jobs, and the biggest thing is if you do your job and trust the next person in line is going to do theirs, you're going to end up successful. And I think that's what they've done so far this year.
So what about you? What led you to coaching? Is this always something you thought you would do when you were playing, or did you just, what brought you to Ringgold?
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to, again, teaching I think was the natural first step there, going to school for that while playing hockey. So doing that there, and then kind of the natural progression out of that, trying to see what those next steps were, being a leader, trying to get back into hockey. I mean, I've always loved hockey. It's something that I couldn't really give up, and as a player, I knew I couldn't go any further. So, the next step for me was coaching, and it's just trying to be that leader for these kids and the next group of kids coming up, and trying to impact them in that way, both, on the ice, but off the ice as well. I say this as a social studies teacher. My job is not to teach you social studies, it's to make you a productive citizen, a productive person when you leave high school. It's the same way with hockey there.
And Matt, when you're a teacher, you can get the early practice slots, so it saves a lot of money too. That's a nice benefit.
That's true.
I got to take not one but two coaches up here. You got to listen to both your coaches. I think program stability matters as well. And Ringgold has won 3 championships at the D2 level. Neshannock is the only other team that's won that many, and you tied them for the division lead basically this season. Ringgold's trying to become the first D2 team to win 4 championships at that level all time. Now that you've had a year to sort of digest how that program operates, why do you think they're stable, and why do you think you guys are able to win consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I think it boils back, and I know I'm kind of going back to the same point here, but it goes back to that trust that they have in each other. I think that's built from, 3 years ago I was the JV coach here, and then learning from, person in front of me, Rick, there, and then kind of moving ahead and taking over as varsity coach, having a little bit of a rough year last year in terms of trust and building that culture and stability. But I think this year I thought the kids knew what they were going to get from myself and the coaching staff. I think they kind of understood what this was going to look like this year and how to play according to what we want, and they did it and have executed it perfectly to get to this point. Now it's one more game to get there.
And it used to be, just because I've been around the league a while, that open class hockey or Division II hockey we used to associate with fire wagon hockey, a lot of back and forth, a lot of high scoring games. That hasn't been the case, clearly, as you noted earlier in this year's playoffs. If this does come down to a goalie duel, I'm sure you have a lot of faith in Mason Rybnicki, who's an all-star, and he's had a great regular season and still a great playoff to show up if it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think arguably one of my biggest traits I wanted to influence into this program or get into this program was defensive style of hockey, focusing on protecting from the net out, and they've done that to a T there. But I mean, Mason has had a great regular season, like you said there, but he has arguably played his best 4 games in the last 2 regular season and the last 2 playoff games. And again, I think he's on the trajectory of keeping on moving up, which I love. And coaching staff that we do have a goalie coach that has been working with him, and it's helped tremendously. So part of being a head coach is putting the right people in spots to help your team overall. And I think that as a coaching staff, we've been able to do that this year.
Kevin, anything to add?
Well, there's a couple of things. Benito Pesci, which is a great name to say, Benito.
Great name.
And Brady Lippert each have 3 goals. Landon Vaccaro, Anthony Beneri, 3 assists. What do they bring to your offense with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are electric on the offensive side of the puck, and that's been noted from start of the time that I've came here to now. But what I've really noticed is, especially in these last 4 games in the back half of this year, they have really started to focus on the defensive side of the puck. They've started to take pride in playing that 200-foot hockey game from down deep in their zone, creating offense through the neutral zone into the offensive zone. And then obviously, I mean, whenever you get them in there and they trust each other, oh man, it's fun to watch as a coach. You kind of sit back and you're like, all right, we're making the right plays, we're trusting each other, we're doing the right thing, and it's a blessing to watch sometimes as a coach. So I got all good words there of those guys.
So speaking as a coach, when they start playing, recognizing the need to play defensively, your messages is being received.
Yes, 100%, 100%, and that is huge. And I think that is what's taken this team from a non-playoff team last year into a playoff team, championship type of team this year.
Yeah, just very quickly, recognize Ringgold's in the co-op. So what are some of the other schools that are part of this?
Yeah, so we got Ringgold, we got Belle Vernon, we got Charleroi, we got York, we got Bentworth, we got. Am I missing one there? Ringgold, Charleroi, California, York, Bentworth, California. Yep, California's in there. I think I got I think I got all of them
It's
there.
a nice mishmash of
Yeah,
Mon
I
Valley
think I got
area
all of
school
them there.
districts.
Yeah, it is a nice mishmash, and we got to, and that's one of the toughest challenges, as you guys have alluded to before, is bringing all of those groups together, bringing all those schools together, and you don't have that kind of same camaraderie that you have at single, double, and AAA there with going to the same school, but being able to get them together off the ice, being able to get them together in other areas, it really does build that trust and that bond with the team there.
And we'll look at the Burrell side of things before we go to break and look at 3A. But lastly, Coach, what does this game come down to, do you think?
I think it's going to come down to, again, systematically, who plays the right way, who does the tough things. If your feet are moving, if your heart is going the whole time, again, I think there's going to be good things in the wake of whatever side does that. So again, trusting each other, trusting the teammates, going through the process, and realizing that you played this game since you were 3 years old. You got 51 minutes to go out and do exactly what you've done so far.
Brady Parkinson, Ringgold head coach, the Rams and the Burrell Bucks on Monday night at 8:45 at UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry for the Division II championship. Thank you, Coach. Good luck on Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Good luck to
Appreciate
you.
it.
Brady Parkinson joining us here at 31 Sports Bar and Grill. And let's take a closer look at the Burrell Bucks, who will be their opponent, as we said on Monday night. They, too, had a dramatic 3-2 win in the semis. Jared Wall scoring with the goalie pulled with 12 seconds left. What a thrilling way to extend the game for the Bucks. And then Jared Rose pulling it out early in the OT for Burrell. I know that we're going to talk about Quaker Valley later and have some of those folks up later. They talk about the team of being the team of unfinished business. Burrell is also, you could say, a team of unfinished business. They've come painfully close to winning one of these championship games, and they're going to hope that the third time is the charm.
Yeah, they've come through as the 5 seed, defeating Connellsville 2-0 and then Morgantown 3-2. And as you mentioned, it was a really competitive game that went into overtime. I believe they had some players that were injured during the year, so getting everybody back, get full strength, I think has allowed them to kind of make this run. They got 4 players with 2 points. Jared Wall has 2 goals. Colton Boda and Ryan Burkett each have a goal and an assist. Dante Talani has 2 assists. And in goal, Seth Munda, he is a sub-1, 0.97 goals against average and a 95.7 save percentage. So those are some stellar numbers between the pipes. And if you get that goaltending, obviously you're going to have a chance. And they pulled the upset, a mild upset in overtime over defending champs Morgantown, and what was a really good game that night.
It really was, and Munda is an emerging star in goal for Burrell. Maddie George is one of their goaltenders. She gets to go to the All-Star game. We got to talk to her when we did our All-Star special here from 31 earlier this year, but Munda is kind of bursting onto the scene with his performance in these playoffs. I'm glad you touched on that, and we've already talked about Mason Ribnicki, who had that great season for Ringgold, so we've got a fantastic goaltending matchup. We've seen, both teams are comfortable playing low-scoring games. Personally, Kevin, I think it comes down to Burrell playing a disciplined game and Ringgold. Can they frustrate Burrell into being undisciplined with all those scorers that can hurt you on any given night?
Yeah, it's kind of a follow-up, as you asked Coach Parkinson right there. I always believed and would deliver the message to my guys. When you get these championships games, it's a team that makes the fewest mistakes and a team that capitalizes on those mistakes. And I think you can really apply that answer to any of these championship game things, particularly if the 2 games appear to be relatively close. And so including in those mistakes is penalties, special team opportunities. Can you capitalize on the power play? Can you prevent allowing the shorthanded goal, which is really demoralizing? And can you get the breaks? I mean, we didn't ask him about it, but Ringgold had a bit of a heart palpable moment there at the end when the Shannock got one in the net and it was rolled correctly as a high stick. I mean, that all comes into play in some of these games. So, as you mentioned, Burrell's been there quite a bit, as is Ringgold. So, it should be a good game.
It's going to be a very good game. And again, Ringgold is a team that has been there. Burrell has also been there, but just can't seem to win that last game. They were so close in 24 against Neshannock last year. They ran into Morgantown this year. They've got another very, very tough matchup in the Rams. Again, we'll see if the third time is the charm. It's Ringgold, the 3 seed, Burrell, the 5 seed, Monday night at 8:45 for the Division II championship of 2026 on 10-Band TV. I said we would hear from the Quaker Valley Quakers. I did not lie. But first, after the break, we're going to hear from the Penguins Cup finalist Peters Township Indians as we preview the Class 3A game, which will be the first game on Tuesday at the Lemieux Complex. With Kevin Zielmanski, I'm Matt Popchock, and you're watching the PIHL Championship Preview Show on 10 Band TV live from 31 Sports Bar and Grill in Bridgeville.
All dim, hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now. Turn it up loud. Every hit, every slam. Yeah, we're here for the crowd. From the first whistle blast to the last hometown shout. Game time starts now. Game time starts now. Gonna get out, pretty baby. Gonna get out of this rocking chair.
Pass Cunningham. Here comes Cunningham between the defenders. Cunningham. Score! Ethan Cunningham! Hat trick! Game-winning goal! The Ramblers win the 2025 2A Penguins Cup! And Ethan Cunningham is a local hero!
Discover the heart of Pittsburgh at Mount Washington Shop and Save. At Mount Washington Shop and Save, we're more than just a grocery store. We're your neighborhood destination. From the freshest local produce to gourmet delights, we've got it all under one roof. Experience convenience, quality, and savings all in the heart of Mount Washington. Mount Washington Shop and Save, where Pittsburgh shops with a view. Shop smart, shop local, shop Mount Washington Shop and Save.
Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices, located in the Greengate East Plaza below Walmart. Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays. Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices, located in the Greengate East Plaza below Walmart. Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
Discover the heart of Pittsburgh at Mount Washington Shop and Save. At Mount Washington Shop and Save, we're more than just a grocery store. We're your neighborhood destination. From the freshest local produce to gourmet delights, we've got it all under one roof. Experience convenience, quality, and savings all in the heart of Mount Washington. Mount Washington Shop and Save, where Pittsburgh shops with a view. Shop smart, shop local, shop Mount Washington Shop and Save.
Bright lights, clock ticks, it's time. Hey, hey. Skates on the ice and the lights all dim. Hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now. Turn it up loud. Every hit, every slam. Yeah, we're here for the crowd. From the first whistle blast
in Bridgeville for the PIHL Championship Preview Show with Kevin Zielmanski. I'm Matt Popchock. We switch gears now to the top flight of the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Hockey League, Class 3A, and we thank the Peters Township Indians for their patience. They've got a busy weekend, as one does when one is preparing to face the reigning state champion Seneca Valley Raiders. That's going to be the Indians' opponent. This approaching Tuesday night at 6:15 p.m. for the Class 3A Penguins Cup Final at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry Township. Head coach Chris Claxon is here, joined by, in no particular order, Zach Manili, Che LaMagna, Captain Daniel Kovac, and Brendan Monco, the all-star defenseman. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. Coach, I do want to start with you just because it's been on my mind. Year number 2 of being in charge of this varsity program. Rick Tingle obviously retired a couple years ago. What is the relationship there like? Do you guys still talk a lot? Does he give you advice on drills and such? Like, what role has he had in helping you kind of move into the next chapter for the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't say more good things about Rick. Again, he was a huge mentor to me as an assistant coach. When I first came back to Pittsburgh and he heard I was interested in coaching, he reached out to me, and I knew him because I played with his sons when I was coming up. So now Rick and I, we still talk, text back and forth, and always pick his brain about certain situations. If it's about an opponent, if it's about a player situation, if it's about, hey, what would you do in this situation? He's great. He's always there to come, and he's been to multiple games this season just to keep an eye on things. But he knows that, he trusted Cliff and I and our staff to move forward, and it's been a lot of fun.
These teams have met a few times already, including the preseason, the PIHL Charities Tournament, a 3-2 shootout in the regular season, and then a 2-0 game, which essentially was a 1-goal game because the second goal was an empty netter. In what ways has this team grown from and grown since those first couple of regular season meetings?
Yeah, Seneca's always had a fantastic season, very deep team, and every game we played against them, we stuck right there with them. And since then, I feel like we've really formed an identity. We realize what is successful for us, what we need to do, the type of play we need to go to, how disciplined, resonating a lot of things that I heard from Ringgold about being disciplined and having that type of mentality, not just freewheeling, playing defensive hockey, because these kind of guys that you're going to play against here on Tuesday, if you let them wheel, they're going to make you look bad. So.
And we'll turn this to the players, and the players are welcome to field this in any order they want to. We'll just go down to each of them. What have you guys enjoyed the most about being a part of this year's team thus far?
Well, coming from the Pensley organization, I love the crowd. When we played against Mac, it was a lifetime experience, and then even against South Fayette, it was a great experience.
Yeah, I just love hanging out with this team, and we got a great bond, and I think that's the reason that we've gone this far. So we're excited for the game.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the close-knit team. We're close with, everybody has a role in the locker room. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, anybody can say, they have a role, they can voice their opinion in the locker room. And like Coach was saying, we stick to that identity that we play with, and we really form that more in the playoffs here so we can see if we can keep that going on Tuesday.
Yeah, just building off what Dan said, when we stick to our identity, we're really dangerous, and we could be the best team out there. But, yeah, we're a really special group. It's been a really fun year, but we got to get the job done on Tuesday night.
And Dan, you mentioned the word identity. I'm glad you did. What do you feel is the identity of this team, guys? Is this a defensive team that thrives upon goaltending? You guys can put the puck in the net too. You've scored your share of goals this year. How would you describe the identity of this team?
I think it's kind of a case of, they say good defense turns into good offense. So I think we're strong on the back end, but we have defensemen that are very offensively minded when they need to be. And then when we get the puck in their zone, we forecheck hard, we play physical, and we try to get pucks to the net, which I think is a big role of why we're here.
I want to ask the guys the hair. How far in advance do we have to plan this? Who's the ringleader? Do we make a salon appointment, or is this in the locker room and it's a mess? How does this go down?
Well, it's been a tradition in the organization for, we were talking just before this. Right. We don't know when it started, but it's kind of, you got to do it when we make the playoffs. So we booked a salon appointment at Gino Levy, and we all did it one night.
They're kind of sitting there waiting for it, Matt. The Peters must be in the playoffs.
I remember some of those earlier Penguins Cup finals from the 2010s when Rick was there, when they had the bleached hair. It is a tradition of that much. I am certain. The Thomas Jefferson game. Much has been said about it. I guess all I really have to say is, from a Peters Township point of view, how are you guys able to pull it out?
So really, that getting in between the second and third period, the camaraderie. When we came in the locker room as a coaching staff, like, how are we going to get these guys going? When we walked around and we looked at guys in the eyes, they wanted it. They knew they were not giving up. They were not done. And they knew that this group, as Danny said, is a special group. And there was no give up in that room. There was nothing but fight. So we found a way to get back into the game. We kept the foot on the gas and got it done. So at the end of the day, we're excited about Tuesday, putting everything that happened before us in the past and make sure that we're focused. Everything Tuesday, 6:15 puck drop.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, you did catch a break, but after that, it seemed like the dial and the energy of the team just went higher, right? That just seemed to be the catalyst to kind of finish, to make the full comeback and finish it in overtime.
Yeah, I take my hats off to TJ and Zyler. John is he's a friend of mine, and he's going to do great things with that program. And they put up a heck of a fight for us. And once we did get back in and we got some momentum, the boys really came together, and they knew that if we just kept doing the right things, put pucks on net, Zach's little brother go ahead and ties it, and then Noop does what Noop does and scores there in OT for us.
He tied it with a good stick to knock down that clearing pass. I mean, he knocked it down, skated laterally, and caught the goalie leaning back. So let's look ahead. I mean, obviously Seneca's excellent. They got a stellar goalie. What is your focus today in practice to prepare?
Yeah, so for a team like Seneca, like you said, it's hard to find a chink in that armor.
Yeah.
They're top to bottom, they're deep, they're fast, they're physical. Between the pipes, you can't say enough about that kid. But, what I think our group has, which is special, is how aggressive we can be. When we come, we can play with anybody. I think our goalie between the pipes is an all-star as well. We know we can lean on Tony. He made a heck of a save, a couple of them, against TJ to keep us in that game. So, and during the regular season, shootout, as well as 1-0 with an open netter, we know we can go toe-to-toe with these guys, and the boys know that too. So we're just ready, and in a one-game playoff situation, anything can happen. It's going to come down to heart. These guys are full of heart.
I was just going to say, this is a Peters Township team, obviously, that proved very recently that it can handle discomfort, it can handle adversity in a big spot. This opponent hasn't had to face discomfort a whole heck of a lot because they've been winning so consistently. How do you make an opponent uncomfortable that isn't used to being uncomfortable?
Actually take a page of their book. They pressure and they make other people uncomfortable by just coming wave by wave. And we're going to take a page from their book and, come with speed and come after them. But at the end of the day, when you've got a group of high school guys coming to play in a championship, there's going to be a lot of butterflies, a lot of excitement. And just make sure they're putting in their legs, not their hands, and come out with being just hard on pucks and being aggressive and pushing them, because we know they're going to push back. They're the type of team that's not going to give up either. They won a state championship and won a Penn's Cup in triple overtime last year, I think.
That's right.
So, there's a lot of guys coming back with that experience. They know what to do. So we'll be ready for them.
And my last question for the players is, what does it mean to get the program back to where it is, back to competing for Penguins Cup champion? I know the goal isn't just to get there, but what does it mean to push the program all the way back there after sort of the tough transition year last year?
Well, last year we did miss the playoffs, which was not likely or not what we wanted, but
it's unusual.
Sorry, yeah.
It was unusual.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome just to win and have another game to play, because we're all friends, and just to be together for as long as we can would be awesome.
Going back to what Mako said about last year, I think this year maybe 3 or 4 new guys in the lineup, in the playoff lineup, that we didn't have last year. So we were all kind of coming from that team last year, kind of coming back this year. And, the mentality at the beginning of the year, coaches came in the locker room saying, the end goal was a state championship. And I think everybody kind of believed in that, and everybody kind of went all in on that. We formed this identity, and I think we can build off of that.
Yeah, we all bought in from day one. I think we've just been a special group all together, and it's really great to see how we've grown as a team. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
You got guys from all kinds of differing hockey backgrounds, Predators and Shaw guys and Penn's Elite guys and guys from everywhere, all coming together under that Peters Township banner. And hopefully for the Indians, they'll be good enough to get it done against the state champs this approaching Tuesday night at 6:15. Coach, any final thoughts?
No, just excited for Popchock, and this is my 6th Penn's Cup final, and everyone is special, everyone is different. But it all comes down to showing up that day, and the boys will be ready.
Yeah, going through it myself, how do you get through the day at work? How is that for you when you know you got a Penguin Cup? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, so as a player, I just went to school, and it was just hockey. But as a coach, as an assistant, nice thing, I just kind of put Rick in front of everything, and he did it. So Tuesday
it's hard
at
to
work, it's going to be,
work.
yeah, we'll see. I'm sure my 3 kids' wife work will keep me distracted enough. But it'll definitely be in the back of my mind the whole time.
I got a little one at home, so relatable. Chris Claxton and the Peters Township Indians, thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us. Good luck this week. Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Have fun. Anyway, have fun.
There go the Peters Township Indians, and such a well-peopled and well-coached program. And speaking of well-peopled and well-coached programs, how about the Seneca Valley Raiders, their opponent? They're back again, and just as we talked to the Peters Township Indians this year, I remember talking to the Raiders last year after they won states, and I remember talking to their goaltender, who Coach Claxton kind of alluded to, Chris Nichols. He's a very modest young man, doesn't say a whole heck of a lot, but there's a saying that still waters run deep. And I know he's going to have a lot going into his mind, Kevin, on Tuesday, because Jonathan played in that 2022 final between Peters and Seneca and took the loss when he was in goal for Seneca. Chris was the winning goaltender in that epic 3 overtime game last year. Chris is arguably, statistically anyway, he was the best goaltender in the league this year. Almost certainly going to win back-to-back Post-Gazette Player of the Years if Seneca wins again. So there's a lot of pressure on that young man going into this one.
Yeah, I did that post-game interview with him last year, and he is a man of few words. He was very brief in his responses, but he's got a 1.00 goals against average and a 94.6 save percentage. But one thing I did notice in the game, if you remember, Seneca came out on fire, 2 quick ones in that game, and then it just kind of settled in. There was a 5-on-3 for Pine Richland that I thought really kind of turned the tides, and then Pine Richland and Seneca were on pretty much even footing for the rest of the game. It was a big penalty kill with a lot of blocked shots for Seneca during that 2-man disadvantage. Pine Richland certainly had their chances, but the one thing I noticed about Nichols is he wanders a bit. So, that could be part of the strategy out there for Peters, is to maybe make him come out and play the puck, some soft dumps, some around the net. We laughed. I saw the coach for trying to get his name here real quick. It was Masika when Nichols turned and put it right in front of his own wide open goal mouth, which is a highly unusual move. So that could be all part of getting to him, some mistakes like that. But they haven't been a high-scoring team in the playoffs. Cooper Hayne, 1 goal, 2 assists. Carson Lindbergh, Owen Martin both have 1 and 1 to lead the way. Again, it was a 2-1 win over Pine Richland. They scored very early. We thought they were ready to blow them out when we were calling the game, because they scored in the, let me get it here, 2:42, 5:49 of the first. So before they were halfway through the first period, they were up 2-0, and we thought, here we go. But credit to the Rams, they kind of settled things down, and they got one in the second, just no scoring in the third. So yes, the Raiders got a lot of big game experience, winning the Penguin Cup, basically playing 2 games last year in triple overtime, and then beating the traditional power from East and Explorers from LaSalle. So a lot of big game experience for the Raiders.
Absolutely, and they're a team that has a lot of top forwards. You mentioned Morin, Cooper Hayne. Jake Gilbert had the game-winning goal. Peters Township obviously has Shayla Magna, who you just saw having a great season. Jake Lawati has had a great season up front. Anthony Herman, the former Baldwin product, has been a great goaltender in his own right for Peters Township. So a lot of similarities, looking at the matchups kind of between the two teams. And frankly, I'm suspecting this game comes down to which team can play the stronger third period. You know, these teams match up very well with one another, and they were two very strong statistically third period teams up to this point in the season. 64 total third period goals between the two of them during the regular season. You know, Seneca Valley has that stifling defense. Peters Township showed mettle coming back to win the game against TJ. But this literally could come down to the wire, I think, this 3A game.
Yeah, looking at the playoff stats, the goals scored on the Raiders have been in the second period, so they haven't allowed a first or third period goal. So not sure why the long change might be impacting their special teams for the Raiders. The penalty kill is 75%, which doesn't seem really high, but when you take into effect that 5-on-3 they killed, which was really critical in that game, they've been very effective and 33% on the power play. So again, you know, you go back to the cliches about the mistakes and taking advantage of things, and you're going to get an opportunity on the power play. It's going to be critical that if you don't cash in, at least you use it to change the momentum and seize control of the game.
And before we go to break, we should note that tickets for the Class 3A game are already sold out per the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Hockey League. So not only will there be a wrapped audience for this week's 3A final, but there will be a packed UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex for this week's 3A final. It'll be between the reigning champs from Seneca Valley and the regular season runners-up this year from Peters Township, Tuesday, 6:15 p.m. on 10 Band TV. When we return, we will hear from the longest tenured head coach in the PIHL, Kevin Quinn, and his Quaker Valley Quakers, who get set to take on another defending champion trying to defend their crown, the Avonworth Antelopes. With Kevin Zielmanski, Matt Popchock here, and it's the PIHL Championship Preview Show on 10 Band TV, live from 31 Sports Bar and Grill.
All dim, hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now. Turn it up loud. Every hit, every slam. Yeah, we're here for the crowd. From the first whistle blast to the last hometown shout. Game time starts now. Game time starts now.
Discover the heart of Pittsburgh at Mount Washington Shop and Save. At Mount Washington Shop and Save, we're more than just a grocery store. We're your neighborhood destination. From the freshest local produce to gourmet delights, we've got it all under one roof. Experience convenience, quality, and savings, all in the heart of Mount Washington. Mount Washington Shop and Save, where Pittsburgh shops with a view. Shop smart, shop local, shop Mount Washington Shop and Save.
Play It Again Sports in Greensburg is your locally owned and operated sporting goods store. We set ourselves apart by offering a wide variety of both new and used equipment at competitive prices. Located in the Greengate East Plaza, below Walmart, Play It Again Sports' knowledgeable staff will help you and your family prepare for every athletic season. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or trade, we are here as your one-stop shop. At Play It Again Sports in Greensburg, everybody plays.
Creating space. Hewitt turning. Scoring! Marshall Hewitt has won the Penguins Cup championship for the Seneca Valley Raiders with 12:29 to play in triple overtime. And don't ever play Lady of Spain again.
Bright lights. Clock ticks. It's time. Hey. Hey. Skates on the ice and the lights all dim. Hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot at a highlight reel. One more chance to prove it's real. Game time starts now.
Welcome back to 31 Sports Bar and Grill in Bridgeville. Matt Popchock here for the PIHL Championship Preview Show. We shift gears to PIHL Class A. It'll be the Quaker Valley Quakers against defending champion Avonworth. The Antelopes back at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry for the second year in a row. The game will be the last of the Penguins Cup playoff final games, to be played this week, Tuesday, 8:45 p.m. right here on 10-Band TV. I am joined by a pair of Kevins now. Kevin Zielmanski, my broadcast partner, Kevin Quinn, in year 28, I believe, as head varsity coach of the Quaker Valley Quakers. And Coach, I feel like last week I hopped in the DeLorean and went back to the future, seeing Quaker Valley and Mars play in a high-stakes playoff game. What impressed you the most about your team in last week's victory?
I think we were pretty resilient coming back after that. They got the first quick goal on us, and a lot of teams get stressed in those situations. But we scored quickly to tie it right after that and got back into our game. And but it was definitely I had to literally talk to the team about the history of Quaker Valley Mars. I think was our 52nd game against them, and a lot of really big games over the years. So. Because they're not in our division, so
right.
Both the teams we played, we didn't play this year. Actually, all three of them, we didn't play this year. So it's a unique system and format, but it was real fun to get back into those kind of games.
Does that format make it more challenging from a preparation standpoint as a coach, or is it just business as usual?
Well, we our first concern always is us. We prepare our group, play the way we want to play. And then, do our preparations and scouting. Thankfully, there is lots of 10-band TV and lots of live.
We're happy to help.
And there's plenty of video out there, and everybody. I was telling the boys over at the table there that, back in the day, you didn't have all this. You'd have to go do your own scouting. I'd have to drive to Johnstown to look at a team, or I'd have to drive somewhere to watch a team. And so it's a different era. And being old, you've lived through all of it.
Yes.
I remember those days of having to drive in person and taking notes.
We do live hockey. We save people gas money. That's how we roll here at the company. And Kevin is joined by Jace Vassbinder and Luke Kohler. Jace has had a great season offensively. Luke has been a fine defenseman and a great playmaker in his own right as well. One of the top assist men in Class A during the regular campaign. Boys, let me ask you, what do you like the most about being a part of this particular Quaker Valley team?
I think we just have a really good team and a great bond. Like, we're always hanging out with each other, and I think that leads to, a lot of communication, and,
I also feel like these losses really made us, grow as a team and, really, help us, drive to win this year. And it's, really helped us grow closer together.
You say you hang out together. What do you guys like to do if it's away from the rink?
We play a lot of poker together.
Oh. High stakes?
Not too bad, no.
I remember a year at Team Pittsburgh, they would do this, and the high stakes were like Little Caesar socks. They were in the pot, and it was like a valuable commodity. So that was kind of what I was thinking when you said that.
When I was in college, Easy Mac was currency, basically. Yes. It gives you an idea of where we came from. The Quakers, by my count, in the postseason, have allowed one goal 5-on-5. One. And that was the first goal of the last game. That's some pretty stout defending. How are you guys able to pull that off?
I feel like we work well together, and our goalie's been playing. He's really turned it on, and he's been solid all season. So I feel like that's really helped us to keep the puck out of the net.
Yeah, I agree with Luke. I mean, our goaltending's been fabulous for playoffs and even the whole season. But I think we all trying to bring it. We have a big senior class, so I think we're all kind of realize it's our last year, and I think we have to bring it. There's no saving it. So I think that's
that finality is a good motivator, right? I mean, when that game ends and you're not on the winning side, it kind of hits you really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Coach, I know that you can coach till you're blue in the face, but it's the guys have to have the buy-in, and they seem to buy into this idea of unfinished business from the last couple of postseason toe stubs, and judging by the way they're playing in this postseason.
Yeah, definitely disappointment and losing, teaches a lot to a young player and the young teams. But these kids have been together from back in Pee Wee. We formed a Pee Wee team with the senior group. Then we played in the Tier 1 division in middle school together to get to this point. And, we wanted to win more than we have as a senior group. So this is an opportunity, and when it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to get there, and it's definitely not going to be easy in this game.
Tell me a little bit about your goaltending. I remember when Landon Buterbaugh was the guy. He was a great goaltender, obviously had a great career at QV. Little did we know what Ian Lorang was going to end up doing this season. He's taken it to a whole other level. How has he been able to do that?
Well, he plays at a high level, amateur-wise, with the Stars, and he's always pushed himself. He trains hard. And he just had, unfortunately, he was in a program that had a goalie ahead of him, and that's just, you can only play one. And we got him a number of games over the last few years, but he wasn't always getting the toughest opponents, and that was frustrating, I think, for him. And this year, he just really has been ready to seize the reins for a while. And we had an early loss at the start of the year, and since then, he's just really been solid in all ways. And just the commitment to being solid for us. Every game goes into it. You got to have goaltending. You're not winning without it. We've been burned by it on the other end in playoffs where a goalie gets hot. So I feel real confident what Ian is going to do for us.
Just in a broader sense, what keeps you coming back to Quaker Valley, continuing to coach all these years? Again, you've been around. You said you've been around a long time. What gives you the motivation to continue doing it?
Well, first of all, I'm a teacher in the school district, and while I've been teaching there for 31 years, I started the hockey program. There's a lot more ownership over and responsibility to the program. Even after I do step down, there won't be walking away for good. To make sure that it keeps going the way it's been going, but it takes a lot of work. I love the community, I love the kids, and I love the school. So it's a unique situation that a coach has been there that long, maybe, but I've certainly enjoyed all 29 years, but 28 years at Varsity.
No, but I do think, and as I said to Brady earlier, organizational stability matters, program stability, those things are important. Aside from obviously strong leadership, why do you think this team wins year after year after year and challenges for championships year after year after year?
Honestly, I think it starts, another unique thing is, I have them in elementary school, K through 12 pretty much. I always talk to some of the other programs in our school district that if you're not involved with the young kids then you can't just wait for them to arrive. Now, some schools are really, really big, and they can do that. We can't. We're just really a small school, and I have to get learn to play programs going. I have to have free skates for our kids, open skates, get equipment to kids, and really partner with the rinks that are near us to make sure that we have Quaker Valley kids getting started. And then once they're there, they have the opportunity to come to our clinics and our camps. And then I advise them on all the other aspects of hockey from a young age and try to get them onto the right amateur teams for their skill levels. And then it's up to them and the parents and the commitment to, make sure that they're getting better away from Quaker Valley as well. It's really nice when you got a bunch of kids playing high-level AA, AAA hockey, and they come back to you and they're even more experienced. So it's a lot of work. I say it all the time, but it is a lot of work.
I've been around some Quaker Valley parents over the years, and they care. They care a great deal, and you will get no argument from me on that whatsoever. Boys, I'll put this question to you first. You are going up against an Avonworth team that, at least on paper, really seems to match up well with you guys, offensively, defensively, you name it. What do you make of your opponent going into Tuesday night?
Yeah, so Coach always talks about adversity, and I think we faced that in the Mars game when they went up 1-0 early. I kind of think that's like a good show of like what we're capable of battling back, and like we've been in those positions before. And obviously Avonworth did beat us last year, but that's kind of in our mind, and I think we're ready for the challenge.
I also feel like we're gonna play a complete game because this is it. We don't really have anything else after this, so I feel like there's gonna be like an even extra level of intensity, because like this is what it all comes down to, and like I feel like we have what it takes to win. So yeah.
So what's it like playing for Coach Quinn?
I think it's really cool because like he's seen a lot, and like he really has like that next level of like he knows, like he's been there before, so like he can really help you and like help you through situations, and like it really like it helped me as a player because I didn't have him in elementary school, but I came in 6th grade and he was there, and it was like a really cool experience to be able to like meet him and like learn from him.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Coach like all my life because I've had him in elementary school, but he's seen every side of me, the anger, the happy, the sad, but yeah, I mean, he just always preps us, and he always teaches us to like give it our all, like there's no saving it, and like, yeah, I think he's been a big part of, he's been the sole reason we've been winning, so.
Do I want to see angry Jace Vastbinder? Do you play better when you're a little? No, you're shaking your head no. So maybe I don't. Okay, forget. I never said anything.
In control, Jace. So Coach, I mean, obviously, what's been powering the Antelopes is their ability to put the puck in that offense. So, what's the preparation like for that?
Well, I mean, they're just loaded. They've got 3 number 1 lines. You know, everywhere you look, there's a goal scorer, and you know, up the middle, they're really deep. It's going to be a real challenge for us. For us, you know, we can only prepare so much for the opponent,
right.
Where we have to focus on, you know, make sure they have to worry about us too,
right.
Because when you're focused on them, and you stop doing what we're supposed to be doing. And so, you know, our preparation so far in our practice, and we got another one Monday, to get ourselves ready for Tuesday, is focus on us and make sure you know who you're out there against and their strengths, and be prepared to defend 200 feet of ice. Because if you're not, they score goals. We lost 6-5 to them in the quarters last year. We got off to a really slow start. It was 4-0 before we knew what was going on. And we battled back and had a power play late to tie it and just didn't do it. And we had a lot of disappointed people in that locker room, and rightly so. You know, it's no fun making those speeches at the end of a year to your team.
No, it's
when you've
not.
only, you know, we've won 2 state championships, yes, but that means that 26 other times I've had to have a tough conversation with the kids after the game. So I don't want to have to do that yet, and the kids are really excited about the opportunity. But to answer your question again, yeah, Avonworth is legit, really, really dominant group.
Who's the home team? I know you guys.
We are.
Okay.
And lastly, for the boys, I know the goal obviously is not just to get there, but with that being said, what does it mean to get back here and to have a chance to play for the championship after the disappointment of last season?
Yeah, I mean, it really means everything. Like, this is our final year as most of the seniors, and I really think that's like a big motivator for us. Like, nobody wants to lose, first off, but it being your last year and where we've been right now, I think we've set ourselves up perfectly, and I think we have the talent to finish the job. So.
Also, it's really fun to play in front of a crowd, and like, I really like it. I mean, I know it gets on people's nerves, but I feel like it just makes me play better. I feel like so. I feel like it's gonna be fun, and I feel like we're gonna be able to get it done this year.
And in this environment, Luke, I'm sorry, Kevin, that's an important skill to have, to be able to play in front of a crowd.
Yeah, and the crowd, I mean, that's a different thing than you get in amateurs. I mean, you don't get that. The level of hockey might be better, but it's that experience that you guys have. I mean, and you want them to enjoy that, but not play to that. Does that make?
There's no doubt. I mean, I witnessed it a little bit in the game before us. There was some definite nerves on the ice for some of the players that hadn't played in that situation. Yeah. And we were, you know, it was pretty choppy for a little bit for some of those players. And I was trying to make sure our players, you've already been here, you've been in this rink a few times. Robert Morris rink, we've won a lot, but these guys have experienced some difficult losses in playoffs there. So I'm glad they got over that hump by beating Mars there. But the crowd was great, and I think that they're now used to it. We had a big crowd for the Chartiers game as well at home. So it was it's something that, but I see it all the time. These kids are not used to playing in front of crowds, and pressure makes them play slower, chopping wood out there a little bit, and I think they're a seasoned bunch, and it really matters to have that experience that they're going to be ready to go. But Avonworth, again, they've already done this, and they've won at the big stage, so both teams should be an even match in that regard.
Good buzz in school about the game? Yeah, that's good. Good to hear.
I'm still hoarse from that QV Mars game, from talking over that crowd. So you better believe there was a great crowd for that one. And there's going to be a great crowd on Tuesday night as well, 8:45 p.m. The Quaker Valley Quakers, the Avonworth Antelopes. Again, two very evenly matched teams, as Coach Quinn said. The 1A Penguins Cup Final for 2026. What a contest it's going to be. Coach, Quakers, good luck. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chase. Thanks, Luke.
Guys.
And there go the Quaker Valley Quakers, the team, again, with unfinished business carrying over from those tough playoff losses. And I'm glad they had mentioned them, because that sort of leads me into what I was going to say about Avonworth. I think Avonworth last year, being in just their third year in the league as a pure program, consisting of players entirely from their own school district, in case some in our audience don't know what we mean when we say pure, in just their 30 years of pure program, they won a championship. Yeah. And they snuck up on some people on the way to winning that first championship. They're not sneaking up on anybody this year. They're the team that everybody, including Quaker Valley, obviously, is trying to knock off. There aren't going to be any surprises, per se, I think, in this game.
It's a program that has had a rapid rise. I mean, They were in the D2 for quite a while. They were somewhat reluctant to exit that classification, but when they did, they've instant success. And they have 12 seniors. They have a lot of players that have played together for all these years. And so when you talk about the finality of when you lose a game and kind of getting that last hurrah that Jace and Luke were just talking about, same thing applies with the Antelopes. And they've had more recent success last year. I mean, they kind of surprised everyone, but just their offense, as Coach Quinn was mentioning, they just have so many threats offensively with the puck. The defense you can play great defense with great puck possession in the offensive zone because you're staying away from your goaltender. This year they have a goalie in Hedko that is first year starting. He hasn't had a lot of experience, but he's been very good for the Antelopes. And they really blitzed Cannon Mack in that second period on the stretch where they got those 4 goals. And at that point, it just looked like Cannon Mack was offensively challenged. It wasn't really going to find a way to put any in the net. So it's going to be the Avonworth offense against a very good goaltender for Quaker Valley and Lorang, and their team defense and the ability to counter.
Absolutely. 4 Lopes in the top 10 in Class A scoring this year. Cooper Powell, Linus Jesenowski, Austin Dodovsky, who went off in last year's Penguins Cup final to help the Lopes win. And Owen Stiers is playing his first year of varsity and has been a breakout star for the Lopes this year, having a great season, having a good playoff as well. 3 goals in a 3-minute span in that second period. Yeah. They got a 4th one, as you said, Kevin, from Joey Moore for good measure. But really, after that outburst, I would agree. It seemed like Cannon Mack was never really in the game. They
couldn't solve it. They didn't have an answer. They had a really good team defense and a good goalie, but they just did not have the offensive threat to counterpunch at that point. As you mentioned, the offense, they've scored 22 goals, Avonworth have. They have 32 assists collectively up and down the roster. Owen Stiers, as you mentioned, Austin Dodovsky, both have 2 goals, 6 assists. Cooper Powell, 4 goals, 3 assists. He's got the most goals. Luke Ermlich and Joey Moore have 4 goals, 2 assists. And Hedko has 2.33 goals against average and an 8.79 save percentage.
And it's not just about talent when you get to this point in the season. It's about matchups. And I think Avonworth thus far has played some teams that they match up really well with. I think Quaker Valley has played some teams that they've been able certainly to create matchup problems for. Now you see 2 teams that have a lot of common strength between the two, the offense, the defense. Hetchko has picked up his game, maybe not to the extent statistically that Ian Lorang has, but he's been very good for Avonworth in the playoffs. So maybe this game comes down to, a guy like Stiers for Avonworth, or to use an example from the last game for QV, Jack Watson scores the power play goal on defense that ends up being the game-winning goal. Maybe it comes down to one of the under-the-radar guys when all that skill cancels each other out.
That's definitely a part of it. When you have a championship game scenario, opponents will prepare for some of your main threats, but it's that unsung hero that steps forward that makes the difference, that scores the winning goal, something like that, blocks a shot. Something that may not appear on the score sheet can also lead to, it could be as simple as winning a big face-off at a certain point of the game too, whether you're defending from an extra attacker or in the extra attacker situation. All part of the details, is I'm sure Coach Quinn would agree, that are part of championship pedigree. You got to be good on your details.
Yeah, and we mentioned the top scores for Avonworth. We haven't even mentioned that QV has the scoring champion from the regular season. Yeah. Shame on me. Matias Lazama with 58 regular season points. He's scored a goal in every playoff round, and every one of those goals has been critical in each playoff round for Quaker Valley. So maybe he shows up in a big spot in these Penguins Cup finals. It wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility.
Oh, absolutely be expected. He's going to be leading the way offensively for the Quakers. And again, I mean, it's very simple to say, it's not like we're going to come up here and say one team's going to blow out another team. I mean, all four of these matchups seems just so close and similar that as fans of the PIHL, have been around for a long time, we're just hoping for competitive games. You and I will be on the call for both 3A and 1A on Tuesday, so we're looking for exciting games to be part of. I mean, I don't know about you, when I show up at the Lemieux Center, you could feel like pregame. Like you get kind of jazzed up just to do what we do, and we're not even involved down on the ice. So it's a lot of fun.
It is. And before we forget, before we sign off altogether for today, I want to take a quick look at the other side of the state just to see what this week's winners will potentially be looking at as they progress into the 2026 Pennsylvania Cup round. This year it'll be at the Iceline Quad Rinks in Westchester, a venue that has hosted the PA Cup on many occasions, including when Bishop Canavan won it once upon a time. I remember broadcasting that game back in 2011 when the Crusaders hoisted the trophy. And we should note also that the Flyers Cup feed of the Pennsylvania Cup can be seen on 10-band TV. So if you want to watch states for the teams that make it, feel free to hop on to 10band.tv and watch all three games there. In Class A, it will be Avonworth or Quaker Valley against either the Pencrest Lions or the Hershey Trojans. The Trojans won their first ever state title against Chartiers Valley a couple of years ago. In Class 2A, the Pennsylvania Cup comes down to either Hempfield or Penn Trafford against either the Boyertown Bears or last year's state champs, the North Penn Knights, who of course defeated Cathedral Prep on the island to win the state title in 2A last season. And lastly, the 3A Pennsylvania Cup on Saturday, March 21st in Westchester will come down to the Seneca Valley Raiders or the Peters Township Indians against either the legendary LaSalle Explorers or the Holy Ghost Prep Firebirds, the team that the Raiders beat with you and I on the mic last year for the Raiders' first ever state championship. So lots of great hockey on the horizon.
Yeah, and get the advantage. It's nice if, from speaking as someone that I know for the out east, they would watch the video feeds of the Penguin Cup for years, and now the teams that win in the West are going to have an opportunity to find a way to check out the East on their YouTube feed through 10 Band's interface and get a little advanced scouting, so it kind of levels the field a bit.
Kevin, I look forward to being reunited, and yes, it will feel so good when we are back on the air this week for Penguins Cup and Division II Championship Hockey. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Thanks to Ken Reggett and his staff for their incredible patience and cooperation and hospitality. Thank you, Kennedy Kazarowski. Thank you, Todd Kazarowski. Thank you, Michael Lyman and the Four Seasons. And thank you for watching and listening. For Kevin Zielmanski, I am Matt Popchock, and that's all she wrote from Bridgeville. Again, we will see you at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex beginning Monday at 6:15 for the 2026 Penguins Cup Championship Series and the Division II Final, all on 10-Band TV.
lights all dim, hearts in the stands as the moment sinks in. One more shot